You remember Field Day, the parachute, water balloons, the tug of war, that kid who took the 50-yard dash way too seriously? Orange slices, those little popsicles that cut the sides of your mouths, a participation ribbon, and a gym teacher with a whistle who lost control of the entire operation somewhere around 9:15 in the morning. Someone's mom brought Capri Suns, or maybe even Sunny D. Those were the glory days. But now, let's take that idea and give it to a selection committee. Give it 120 teenagers. Fly those teenagers to a boarding school in Ohio. Give it Laura Rutledge and Beth Mowins on the call, a $250,000 prize pool, and a primetime ABC special with the president turning up for the grand finale. Yes, we've taken Field Day, turned it Trumpian, and invented the Patriot Games. And yes, there are 120 real athletes, 14 to 17 years old, not being flown to an island. One boy and one girl from every state, plus the territories and tribal nations, which allegedly Donald Trump has maybe even heard of. And they're competing this week at the Spire Academy in Geneva, Ohio, a campus that hosted a Trump rally back in 2016 because of course it did. And this whole Patriot Games thing is run by Freedom 250, the same outfit that gave you that UFC fight on the White House lawn that happened to be on Trump's birthday, all of the state fair on the mall. And look, ESPN's been streaming all 3 days of this Patriot Games thing, and there's a special airing on ABC for the finale this week. And frankly, it looks to be of the same quality as the rest of the Freedom 250 crap. Carolyn Levitt even is saying that Donald Trump, quote, looks forward to attending the Patriot Games in Ohio on Tuesday as we continue to celebrate 250 years of American greatness. But yet, you look at the events, you've got the revived presidential fitness test. You have a boot camp circuit with army crawls, cargo nets, and tire lifts. But then you have kickball, tug of war, dodgeball, and something called victory hoops, which is just that arcade pop-a shot. Beth Mowins calls NFL games. Now she's on a hot mic saying pop-a shot semifinal and reevaluating her agent because she did not sign up to call games on ESPN 8, the Ocho. Now look, for the kids, 2 of these kids are going to go home with $125,000 each for college. And as the dad of an athlete, good for every single one of them. One 16-year-old told CNN that she signed up because she wanted to help bring the country together. And that since she signed up, people have simply stopped talking to her. Because, like a lot of other things with the 250th, this event could have been awesome. But the adults, the alleged adults like Donald Trump, built this damn thing backwards. I don't need to remind you that Congress already created an official 250th birthday commission, the bipartisan one called America 250. Donald Trump made his own one up anyway because he wanted to control everything. Freedom 250, which he says is nonpartisan. Yet his website promises to be the golden age of opportunity. And when Donald Trump announced these games back in December, he said, quote, the most spectacular birthday party the world has ever seen. I've got to ask, where's the line? Where's the line between celebrating your country and celebrating your president? Because America's birthday shouldn't need one man's face on it, one man's name on it. So what would a 250th that actually belongs to everybody look like? Tell me in the comments, how would you have made this a great event? But look, there is a reason that everyone in Freedom 250 is trying this hard with the Patriot Games. Gallup, back in June, 14% of adults 18 to 34 say that they're extremely proud to be American. Just 14. And so the official response from the Trump White House is programming? I mean, look, you had a quiz show on CBS in June, sports show in August, patriotism as content, and frankly, it's crappy content. Nobody is less proud of America because they weren't handed an obstacle course. Maybe, just maybe, they're not proud to be an American because of the rent, the lockdown drills our kids have to sit through. Grown-ups treating young adults' first election like a threat. Even the Democrats' official count posted what we're all thinking, the tribute decree from the Hunger Games, word for word. Again, 0 notes there.
I just love that.
But the uncomfortable part is how little work that joke had to do. Because the organizers' own materials call these competitors from each state Tributes. They did it, I didn't. And all of that brings me to the network. ESPN, the stick to sports network, the one that sent memos to keep politics off the air. Jamel Hill suspended over Trump posts, gone within a year. Bomani Jones with his Cleveland Caucasian shirt. Dan Le Batard on his own show in 2019 after the Send Her Back rally said ESPN, quote, hasn't had the stomach for that fight. Called it cowardly on the air, and within 2 years, he was out of ESPN. For a decade on ESPN, the rule was politics don't touch this air. But that whole time, that rule had an asterisk. Politics doesn't touch this air unless politics brings us tug of war and a primetime special, all to celebrate the president. Look, I feel for these kids because my kid is an athlete. And when she competes, the day belongs to her team, her effort, her team's name on the bracket, not to a politician's brand. Every kid on that field in Ohio earned the same thing, a country that cheers for them, no strings attached. Unfortunately, Donald Trump can't help himself. Everything has to be about him. So do me a favor, subscribe. We're really the only ones that are going to be covering this the way it deserves to be covered, like a Trump tribute that ignores kids. And if you really support what we do, consider becoming a member. That way, you will make sure that we can keep bringing you great content every single day.